Yo, people, welcome back to the first episode of a Champions League post-match carnage of the season. Hopefully, God willing, inshallah, one of many successful ones that we will encounter through the season. You're very welcome, people. Thank you very much for joining us. Smash up that like button. You know the house rules. You know football carnage rules. Very politely, hit that like button, and then we can keep it moving. Then we can keep it talking. On the night that Liverpool and Arne Slot, Liverpool made the comeback into the Champions League, and Arne Slot took his first Liverpool game in Champions League. What a night, what a place to make a debut. The San Siro, the 7 times reigning Champions League winners, AC Milan, absolutely humbled and controlled by this new Liverpool team under Slot. Joining me today, as you can see, I have the wonderful Mohammed, all the way from Scousland, Liverpool. How we doing?
Fantastic. On top of the world. How are we doing, Grizz? I'm good, bro.
Good. We're doing all right, bro. We're doing all right. I know we were a little bit nervous at the start, especially after that first 5 minutes or something, but we'll get into it. But in the end, it's good to see you smiling, me smiling, and Keith is always smiling and ultra positive. Keith, Mr. Cross is in the building. We saying, how you doing? What are you telling me?
Amazing. This is my favorite competition in the world.
Yeah, you always say this.
Be back in the Champions League, the greatest tournament ever, and I'm so happy to be back with a bang and back on the show. And you know, I'll be trying my utmost best to be on every post match for a Champions League, win, lose or draw. But yeah,
there you go, people. The exclusive bomber from Mr. Goldmouth. He's going to try his best. He's been absent, but he's been absent with leave because obviously, if you don't know, Mr. Keith Cross has recently got married. So we're not going to start carrying on. He's had enough congratulations and flowers to last my life, man. But he's been absent with leave. But he has promised us live to be as available as possible for post-match. Win, lose or draw. Because last season he ducked a few losses. I'm not going to lie. Oh, I can't make it when we lost. But listen, people, we're here to speak, of course. AC Milan 1, Liverpool 3. Mohammed, I'm going to come to you first, my brother. As always, we start off with the lineups. These days, a bit of controversy around the lineups. Me and you were just talking just before we went live, and you was like, you're not fully understanding why so much drama and controversy about the lineups. Is that right?
That's absolutely right. And you know what? You guys can maybe educate me as well, but like within the first few years of Klopp, like the peak Klopp side when we were winning Champions Leagues and Premier Leagues, from what I can recall, it was pretty much the same starting 11 most game weeks. Even in Champions League and in Premier League, there would be the odd time where Klopp would just do some random crazy team, and like the likes of like Minamino would be starting. Well, even before then, he would just randomly just start like Shaqiri up front, and he would play like one of the kids at centre back. It would just be a random team. I remember he did that against Everton a couple of times as well. But that was towards the latter part of the season. Majority of the time, it always seemed to be the same starting 11 that played. I don't have the stats for that, and maybe somebody can correct me, but it always seemed to me like it was the amazing front three of Salah, Mane, and Firmino. It was always Hendo, Gini, Fabinho, and then the odd time Milner would come into that rotation. And then the back four just picked itself. Maybe Matip used to get replaced a bit with like Lovren, but Matip was quite injury prone. And Alisson was always in goal. So all this drama that's been unfolding since that Bournemouth game, the Nottingham Forest game about not rotating was a little bit confusing for me. I think it's good for rhythm. It's good that you have the same starting 11 pretty much so they can build that connection relationship amongst each other, so they can continue battling with each other, understanding their patterns of play, especially with a new manager as well. When you've got that starting 11 that's been playing with each other over a couple of games, they understand what is required from the new manager. I don't see that as a negative, and I don't know why it was being portrayed as a negative.
Okay.
I think it's pretty much positive. It was necessary that we made changes, and we did make some changes today. Not the changes that I was expecting, to be fair. I was not expecting Simicast to start, and I'm sure we'll get into the game in a lot more detail, but like he was completely at fault for that first goal. And straight after that goal happened, I tweeted, I don't know how Simicast survived in the summer. Like, I don't know how we never managed to get rid of him, and we never brought somebody in that position. But I can't lie, he proved me wrong. Throughout that game, I thought he played pretty well. Defensively, he was good. Offensively, I think he was just maybe a little bit trying to score a goal too much because he hasn't scored for Liverpool yet. I think offensively he played well with the overlapping runs, the underlapping runs, and of course he got the assist for Virgil van Dijk's goal. So yeah, it was a shaky start from him, but I think he built it, like he grew into the game. Not necessarily the change that I would have made. I think I would have changes elsewhere in the team, but either way, I think, as I said earlier, consistency is important, and it's good that the team, same starting 11, can continue playing as much as they possibly can to build that connection amongst each other.
Keith, I'm going to come to you with the selection. Mohamed says not the changes that he anticipated or would have made personally. I agree. I mean, I could actually see Tsimikas playing for the sake of Robertson to be rested. I thought Nunes would have got a start. Maybe we'll start off with the attack. Gakpo. Sorry, we'll start off with the selection choices. I thought Nunes would have started, and I thought maybe one of Maka or Endo might have started in terms of the midfield as well. I was hoping or anticipating one change in each position on the pitch, but obviously that wasn't the case. Was you okay with the lineup? Before we go, our resident Elvis Presley lookalike says, question to Mr. Cross, as someone would recently know, is Slot in his honeymoon period? But do you get all this commotion about rotation and games coming thick and fast, and the likes of Gakpo, Nunes, Endo, Jones not seeing much game time, Gomez as well, Joe Gomez? Do you see the commotion, or are you with Mohamed that no, let him work with his players, same formation, learn his system, and then we'll get into rotation maybe? How do you look at it?
Yeah, personally, against Forest, I just thought we were rubbish. Like, there's no excuses for rotation. People can argue that, yeah, you should have done X, Y, and Z. It wasn't tired legs that lost us the game. We were just rubbish. And I think that was compounded by the fact that literally what we played Forest on a Saturday, and within 3 days later, we put performance like this. So clearly, it can't be fatigue, because it's not like it was yesterday. That it's not like these guys had much of a break. It's not like they had 7 days to rest to come out and play Milan at the San Siro. They had to basically get on a plane, go away, and had to do it again. So I'm with Mohamed on this. I don't think rotation is an excuse. Like, I get it that the players get tired throughout the season and X, Y, and Z. But at this stage of the season, you know, these players have been doing it for many, many years. The South Americans are used to flying out, in and out, and doing running around all over the shop. And I just think we were rubbish today against Forest. So, no, I don't blame that on fatigue. I just blame that on a bad performance. This game, coming into this, I was actually a bit like you, Grizz. I was maybe thinking that Darwin Núñez could potentially get a shot up front. I was thinking maybe... I definitely thought that Diaz was going to at least get some time off. I thought he looks a bit leggy towards the end. So, you know, I wasn't surprised that Cody Gakpo got the opportunity, deserved opportunity, in my opinion. And I think Slot has got a real problem at the moment with playing players other than Gravenberch and McAllister, because I look at his options and I look at what he's trying to do. And quite frankly, I don't know if Curtis Jones and Endo are going to give him what them two are giving you right now. So what do? Do you take the risk? You know, you're trying to create a new philosophy, a new style, and you're trying to bed in an 11, which that you want to trust more times than not. So are you going to take risk by changing this middle three so early on and try and rotate and move things around? I don't see any point to it. Klopp never did it. Mohamed's completely right. I remember when we won the league title, when we were playing the same 11 week in, week out, and the Champions League was the same team. So, you know, I think we have a problem. It's going to come to light. You know, if one of Ryan Gravenberch and McAllister or Szoboszlai get injured, I'm a bit concerned with the quality that's coming off the bench to fill those positions in. Kostas is an interesting one. Just to finish off on him. You know, Slot seems to take a liking to him. You know, let's be honest. You know, he played all of preseason and he was there for all of preseason. Slot, if he really didn't rate him, I think he would have banished him. Personally, I think he would have. I think he would have done what he done with Endo. He hardly played him in preseason, right? But Kostas started a lot of games in preseason. You can almost argue that it was unfortunate that he got benched for the first few games, seeing he was playing so much. And Robertson, you know, I still think he does a job, but you know, but the problem we have with both left backs at the moment is pace. I don't think Tsimikas is a bad football player. I don't even think he's a bad defender. I just think they're both slow, and I think that's going to be a problem going into the season. But Yeah, I think from a slot perspective, I thought the Costas one was coming.
Yeah, well, I guess that's where we have to start off. When we look at the Milan, when we look at the Milan lineup, Mohammed, I think it doesn't take a footballing tactical to work out where the danger was going to be, where the threat was going to be. It was going to be from Leao and Christian Pulisic, who, like there's certain players, guys, like there's certain players that always have their Ballon d'Or game against us.
Put your money on them every time.
Put your money against, and Christian Pulisic is one of those, right? Throughout the season, he never plays. Like Kante, injured throughout the season, but Pulisic was one of those guys that always used to turn up against us. Of course, on the other side, Leao, who's hugely talented, inconsistent, but the natural ability of a world beater. I was concerned that if our fullbacks are isolated, then it's going to be an awkward night. 3 minutes in, try to explain what that was. Like 3 minutes in a Champions League game, probably the second most dangerous player on the opposition is clean through. Can you explain what happened there? He thinks it's Simicas's fault. Where are you at?
I think it was Simicas's fault, of course, because he lost the duel. But I think it was also the way we set up quite early.
Yeah. Guys, I think you're being harsh on just Simicas, man.
It wasn't just Simicas, because I think we went to press high very early on. You can see the position of Gakpo. He's pressed up all the way high up, and it's left the fullback and also Pulisic alone. And it just, that responsibility fell on Simicas to then go and try and push the fullback, because you don't press in like individually, you press as a team. And that includes the fullbacks. The fullback has to then go high, as well as Gakpo's gone high, and the rest of the team's gone high. I think we did try initially to just press quite high, and I think that's hopefully something we can learn, because obviously he has played Champions League, he has managed Champions League games in the past, but to go away to the San Siro, the first 10 minutes, oof, it's a cauldron in there. It's a cauldron in a majority of the Champions League stadiums that we're going to go and visit. We need to just, be patient, calm it down a little bit, and not do anything reckless and too crazy. The pressing game was, towards the end of the game and throughout the game, it was pretty good. But early on, I think maybe if we just try and control the tempo, get everyone to have a couple of touches of the ball, that would have been great. But unfortunately, that never happened. Simicas was very weak when he went up for that duel against, I think it was Morata. And by the way, I don't think there's a player in the world that I hate more than Morata. Like, I'm so glad he lost today. Like, I've never seen, like, I can't recall somebody who's more on the floor than he is with the ball at his feet. It's ridiculous. I can't stand that guy and the way he moans. And maybe I'm just getting flashbacks from that Atletico Madrid game as well. But I've never liked them, and I can't stand them. I'm glad he's probably having a bad night tonight. But anyways, he won that duel against Simicas, and then Pulisic was through on goal. And the team was quite high. It happens, but it was the reaction afterwards. It was how we calmed down. We was like, okay, we're 1-0 down. We're not going to panic. We're going to calm down. We're going to relax. And then we just grew into the game, and I think it was fantastic.
Keith, are you of the same opinion? Look, I said we've got to get the structure right of the team in terms of when we're out of possession, don't be too eager on the press, because the only way they're going to get behind us is through the wide flanks. Morata's not going to outpace none of our centre-backs. The midfield is very workmanlike. Fofana, Reinders, and the other one. Help me out. Who is the third midfielder? Fofana, Reinders, and who?
Ruben Loftus-Cheek.
Loftus-Cheek.
Wow, I didn't even know he was playing.
No way. So basically,
today.
three guys that are not going to break the line, so to speak. Even Robin Loftus-Cheek kind of plays deeper than he did for Chelsea when he played the odd occasion. So the danger was always going to be the flanks. I thought it was so naive from us to have our fullback so high in the 3rd minute of the game when Pulisic is the threat. Was Konate a bit indecisive in terms of backing off because he could have gone earlier? McAllister was never going to catch Pulisic. Should he have read that game better? Or was it just one of those, everyone was out of position and we kind of just panicked?
Yeah, for me, I think Kostas Tsimikas, the problem is that he has these moments of madness. I've seen it with him before for Liverpool. And, if you look, funny enough with that goal, what was just so hilarious is that when it was happening in real time, the camera panned to the coach. So by the time that they actually panned back to the game, Pulisic was already through on goal. So you couldn't see what actually happened.
What actually happened? I was thinking it was only me.
I didn't know what actually happened either, but instantly I knew it was Tsimikas.
Yeah,
and I don't know. I just knew it was Tsimikas.
Like
that's called confirmation bias, man.
Yeah, maybe it is.
You just do it. But then obviously they showed the replay, and look, you said, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Again, Kostas loses his mind because he's not that good in the air anyway. So why are you trying to win a header inside Milan's half so far out? And what he does do, if you see the defensive line, he's so far out. All of a sudden, it's just like, obviously Virgil then tries to then become aggressive. And once you're in that situation where you've missed your duel,
you've missed two duels in the middle of the pitch,
then you're always like running back. You're trying to make a decision, and again, it's pretty much like Hudson-Odoi's strike of the week. It was a very good strike. Like, let's not get
clean strike,
clean as anything. And just to end on this, you were saying about Christian Pulisic. That's Christian Pulisic's third career goal against Liverpool. Bearing in mind, this guy hardly played football for Chelsea as it is, and this is the first time we played him against Milan. If you're a betting man, you should have definitely put your house on Christian Pulisic scoring, because if anyone was going to score for Milan tonight, it was him. So, sorry, Kostas, but you get brain dead defender of the day for that one, because that was just unnecessary. It was just unnecessary.
You know what? It was, and you know what? I don't know I can't exactly remember all of the other goals, but I guarantee there will be bangers from Christian Pulisic against us. But listen, enough of that, because that was as good as it got for them and as bad as it got for us. Because I felt from that minute onwards, guys, it reminded me of very much like our second half performances against Man United and Ipswich and Brentford, where we just went through the gears, but it didn't need half time. It just needed a 5-minute awful spell at the start of a game. And I think it's time to sort of maybe start talking about certain individuals. And I thought Virgil and Konate started the calming down, Mohamed, from the back. They exerted control with brute force and keeping the ball under not that much pressing from AC Milan, but we just kind of got our confidence and shape back, and everyone was focused in what they had to do. And I thought they started off the comeback, so to speak, like just calming everything down.
Oh, big facts. Honestly, you hit the nail on the head with that. I think Vage and Konate were just excellent. As soon as that goal went, their heads never went. They were very calm on the ball. Konate, he's had a lot of stick in the past about his ability on the ball, but I thought he was good on the ball today. Just found the simple pass, found the right pass each time. Virgil as well. They just calmed the team down for us a lot. And after that, we started, picking up the pace, going through the gears, and the performance. I think if we're going to talk about performances, I understand they both scored goals, but the performances were more in the forward line. I just really want to get up to Gakpo, honestly.
You're what's the matter with you? You're like a kid. I'm trying to hold back. I know he's so eager to get into Gakpo. I'm gonna keep you on edge a bit more.
All right.
I'm not going to go to you about Gakpo. I'm going to go to you about Gakpo. Okay. Reel back a little bit.
Reel back a little bit. All right. Fantastic from the two lads I centre half. Like, they calmed the play down for us, and they got us our first two goals. Also, side note, it's lovely to see the in-swinging crosses and corners. Like the in-swinger from Trent from the free kick, beautiful. The in-swinger from Tsimikas for Virgil's header, amazing. I think last season we've seen a lot of out-swingers, and I've never been a fan of out-swinging crosses. If I was watching the North London derby and Gary Neville was giving a lot of stick to Vicario, man, I wonder what he thinks of Mike Mannion on our corners as well. Because
I was going to say, do you think so? Look, obviously we score the goals, and before we get to the goals, we score one. We're 1-0 up at halftime, aren't we? No, 2-0, 2-1. But before we get onto the goals, how we worked our way into the midfield, into the game. was indicative of the calmness that Slot has shown on the touchline. I don't think, Keith, we saw him animated apart from fist pump when he scored the goal, where he was like, I think he just sat on his bench most of the time, and it just kind of rubs off on this team, isn't it? Like Mohammed says, the atmosphere was banging. When they scored, we could have lost our heads, but we didn't. And I thought the midfield, once again, exerted that control. I thought McAllister, and we might as well get on to the stars of the show: McAllister, Gravenberch, and Szoboszlai. We'll touch upon Szoboszlai's critics off the ball, on the ball, but I thought the three of them started gaining total control of that midfield.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, the three of them complement each other so well. And, you've got literally like, if you wanted to build a midfield three and the qualities that you exert, you would have, a player like McAllister who can get involved in the tackles, great on the ball, great passing around, dictated the play, calm things down when things got a little bit hectic, but would also kind of play in between with him and Ryan Gravenberch. You got Ryan Gravenberch at the moment, who I still cannot believe. I mean, we got to start having.
Well, let's park up on Gravenberch. I just want to read out. Arnie Slot's quote, because obviously we've gone live straight after, so we don't know what they've said. And he says, "Oh God, where is it? Just my luck." Okay. He took the occasion of playing at a stadium that's had some unbelievable Dutch midfielders. He played an unbelievable game. We're talking that stadium has seen some of the greatest midfielders to grace the game. I'm talking Seedorf. I'm talking Ruud Gullit. I'm talking Rijkaard.
Yeah.
This guy has the potential to be as good as he wants.
Yeah.
Potential.
Yeah.
So before people start saying, "Oh, we're getting overboard," I'm saying potentially. What has this guy not got, Keith?
He's got it all.
Kid.
He's got it all. Kids, what, 20 or 22 years old?
22?
Kids. I mean, what hasn't he got? He's got, ball manipulation, tackling, physical presence, can find a pass. But the most important thing, and I think it's very hard in modern football, in my opinion, to play the two. When teams like to overload the midfield, which Milan tried to do, you saw in certain scenarios it was 3v2 many times. But the way Ryan Gravenberch covered the space, what impressed me the most tonight, we can talk on about what he does on the ball, but it was the way that he was filling into those spaces in between Trent Alexander-Arnold and Konate to make that cover. There was one moment where Milan are on the counter-attack and Leao's done Trent, right? So Leao's nutmeg Trent. He's running down there. He's outpaced Konate, and he's about to put that ball into the box. And who's there to make that interception? It's Ryan Gravenberch. These are the type of qualities I saw with him. His ability to make interceptions, like his timing to be in the right place at the right time in the right space to stop the ball being passed between the lines by the opposition. These are the skills that Gravenberch had that I didn't think was possible. I didn't think that he had it in him. I didn't think that Ronald Koeman made a comment, and people may not like what he said, but I think the one thing that he said was that he seems more focused. And it's that focus that is driving these performances.
Yes.
That is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a player that's in the moment, in the game, and is taking on the responsibility as I am now the main man in this midfield too. Me and Maka together, we can create magic. And for me, am absolutely overwhelmingly happy with what Slot has been able to do with him. And you've got to give Slot his flowers in that instance. Slot came in as a manager who we were told, gets the best out of players. He coaches players to be better. Head coach, we laughed about it now. Well, head coach is currently at this moment in time doing his thing, and he's doing his thing with Ryan Gravenberch. And I'm sure we can also talk about another Dutch guy that he seems to be doing his thing with as we go on. The last point I want to make, when you talk about Slot's calmness, what I like the most about tonight and what I'm encouraged by is a loss like we had against Forest to a manager that's just come in with a group of players that had just finished third and challenged for a title can have a negative impact. It can go spiral pretty quickly. So to do what we did tonight is a testament that actually we do have a serious head coach. It's going to take some time. There's going to be some more bumps along the way, no doubt about it. But the bounce back ability, I like that. That tells me that the players believe that this guy has the answers to take us to great things. So, kudos to Slot tonight for coaching this performance?
Big up MCE TV, who's a Man City fan, says, "What's good, Grizz? Smash a like, people." I know I did. If Man City fans are liking the stream, come on. There's absolutely no excuse for you Liverpool fans not to be liking the stream. Over 350 of you guys in here. Big up the support. Big up the community. Liverpool have just put away. I think that's the best way of putting it, Mohammed. Put away. And we're going to get on. We've touched upon Gravenberch. We're not moving from Gravenberch. Gravenberch is still in the conversation. So don't think we've stopped talking and praising Gravenberch, because we never. But I know you want to talk about Cody Gakpo. Now, Cody Gakpo is a player that hasn't seen many minutes. A huge debate we had all summer about his position, best position. Do you remember we had so many discussions to and fro? Where's he going to fit into his team? Jota's the number one, then Diaz on the wing. Look, I want competition, and I want players, when they're given the opportunity, to grasp that opportunity. My God, if ever someone grasped the opportunity, it was Cody Gakpo today.
Oh, he definitely grasped the opportunity. And to your point, by saying competition, Luis Diaz this season, and you know I'm not his biggest fan, but Luis Diaz this season as well, he deserves his flowers. He's been orders.
Yep.
We've got a serious problem at left wing right now, and it's a lovely problem to have. Both of these players have been on fire. Gakpo today was just incredible. The running power, the link-up play, the shooting ability, his pressing, everything that he did was flawless. He was just absolutely... The only thing that was missing from his game today was a goal.
Finish.
Yeah, just the finish was just missing from his game today. But apart from that, the lad was just like a man possessed. It was insane watching him. I was thinking... But we did see glimpses of this during the Euros. And we have seen glimpses of a very good Gakpo in the past as well. Like, it usually tends to be towards the last 5 games of the season when we're not really going for anything. Like, he seems to do pretty well. But today, man, I feel like maybe more credit to Slot as well. He'd been holding him back, and he's just unleashed him today and said, prove that you deserve a place into the starting 11. And boy, he did. Like, because that was just, I was speechless at times. The running power, he just the way.
Do you know, Mohammed? Do you know, guys, that acceleration? Like like I never knew he had that. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be very honest with you. Even in his days at Feyenoord, I never knew he had a PSV. I never knew he had that ability to get away. Did you see the amount of times he turns? So not only the pace, but the strength at the same time. It's like they're all climbing all over his back. He's turned them on a sixpence, received the ball, and then he's just accelerating away internally, invertingly at the same time, which means he's going into other players converging, but they're not catching him. You have to foul him every single time to bring him down.
And he's a big lad on top of that. He's a huge presence. He's like 6'4", and the acceleration is just incredible. And the shooting power as well. I think there was one chance where he came off the left and he took a shot with his right foot, and they just fly past the post. Boy, if that went in, we'd be talking about one of the greatest Champions League performances of all time. Like, literally, the guy was incredible. Like, I don't know whether he cemented this place into the starting 11. Maybe do we hold him back a little bit more? Keep that hunger, keep that fight, because Diaz doesn't deserve to be dropped. Okay, he wasn't the best against Nottingham Forest, but let's not forget his the first 3 games of the season. Maybe Ipswich as well. He wasn't amazing, but United and Brentford, he was class. So it's a good problem to have. It's a fantastic problem to have. But man, Gakpo deserves all his flowers possible, and I hope this just continues for him, and I hope he can cement a place into the starting 11, and continue performances like that. Because if we do, wow, I think we can go very far with him. He'll be.
We don't know about this stage how we're not level, because Mohamed Salah with couple of snapshots. I love the way when Mohamed shoots like that, when he's got a small backlift and he can still get so much power. One on his right foot, which we don't see very often, smashes the underside of the crossbar, comes out again to no one. Again, the second one on his left foot, just about get blocked, but the quick touch control and then swivel on his left foot this time. Again, crossbar out to no one. Are you thinking matter of time or against Forest, we didn't have nothing. And today we're having something, but we're being unlucky. Are you thinking, what's going on here?
Yeah, no, today was a different story. I thought it was
Okay.
only a matter of time.
Okay.
We would force that goal in. It just felt like it almost felt like if you're a Milan fan and you're on a show tonight, I would probably be saying we went ahead too early, way too early, because I feel like once they went ahead, I thought, especially them being in the position they're currently in, which, you know, they're a bit low on confidence. They've not had a great start to the season. You know, to go 1-0 up and try and defend a lead, they're not Nottingham Forest. You know, this is the difference. You know, these teams, when you go, like, for example, Nottingham Forest, and Nuno Espirito can get away with doing these kind of performances. He's done it for years in the Premier League.
Yeah.
If we talk about Barclays, man, then we need to talk about, you know, Premier League era man. And Nuno can go to any ground and literally suffocate the life out of a game. But the way when you play those type of games, because Milan tried it to a certain extent, you know, they tried to sit in deep. They tried to do. The problem is when your teams of that caliber, it's impossible to keep it that way. You're just not built like that. Atletico Madrid might be the only team in world football that's at the highest level that can do that. So Milan are not great defensively. They've not got great defensive organization. So for me, it was only a matter of time before we score. And the second one, and I think I want to go into it if you don't mind, Grizz. The second one.
Go for it, man. Let's go into it. First and foremost, why was he complaining? Well, why was the defender? What's the matter, bro?
By the way, that Calabria, how is he the captain of one of the biggest teams in the world? In the world?
I'll tell you why. Do you know who the alternative is?
It's
Emerson Royale.
No, but how is he the captain? What's happened to AC Milan?
But,
it's sad. So sad to see.
I was my concern, not concern, but earlier on, you know, because one thing we forget about the previous era is we were very good at set pieces. You know, we scored a lot of goals at set pieces, and I thought we've been taking set pieces recently. Are we working on set pieces as much as we used to do? Do we have a plan with set pieces? We've got two giants. You know, we should be scoring goals. We should have scored goals already from set pieces, in my opinion. You should always score goals from set pieces when you have Virgil van Dijk and Konate in the team, in my opinion. So it gave me a warmth that actually, do you know what? No, we still very much have this in our locker. You know, the Konate goal, as I said, Konate actually should score many more goals.
Yes.
I think that was the first time he scored in like over a year. And I think he's criminally sometimes he mistimes his headers, sometimes he mistimes the jump. But again, wonderful delivery by Trent Alexander-Arnold. It's very hard to do that when you've not got a lot of space. Do you know what I mean? You can either overhit it or underhit it, where you turn it into a floater and the defender has to do all he can to hit it. But it was just a perfect delivery. And give Tsimikas his flowers. You know, I may not think that he's personally, I don't think that he's Liverpool first left back quality. One thing I will say, he's got a great delivery on him.
He has, man. That's the mad thing.
Wicked. You know, sometimes you just need to inject him with a bit more pace and a little bit more height and some power, and you never know, mate. You might get an alternative to Robertson. But do you know what? As long as he's got that delivery, he's very good on that delivery. And Virgil van Dijk, I know we're going to talk about others, so I just wanted to that really, for me, this season, and even in the Forest game, by the way, for me this season, Virgil van Dijk is having another monster start to the season.
I'm with you.
Unbelievable.
So you've seen my not hot take, but I don't think he was as good as people made out last season. That's just my opinion. All right. But I think people were getting a bit overboard with his praise. I don't know what you guys think. And I know a lot of people disagree with me. But this season, I think he's been close to his best, guys. Now, I don't know if that's the Dutch influence of Slot, you know, the added responsibility of a lot of senior players going, whatever it is, the captaincy, whatever it is, I think Virgil is close. Not back to his original best, but I think he's been immaculate. And his leadership, apparently Seedorf commented on his leadership qualities from the moment that we go down, and speaking about how he loved his composure and the way he controlled the whole team. Virgil van Dijk's header. Which one did you guys like? Mohammed, which one? Like Keith's talking about the both very similar.
Very similar. But, no, but as I was saying earlier,
actually not similar. Because I'll tell you why. Sorry. I was just going to ask you guys little tactical tweaks as well. So the first one is Konate coming in and with a storming header, jumping, no one's stopping him. Virgil plays on the goal line and moves outward and then gets the flick. So two different ways of scoring from set pieces.
Yeah, two different ways. But before I go into that, I have to agree with your point about Virgil not being great last season. I think he was great last season. There was a
Okay.
lot of change. Obviously, the full backs weren't there. The centre back, he was playing Kwanzaa, Gomez. But anyway, that was last season. Let's park that bench because this season he's been incredible. Both goals were pretty similar. And as I touched on before, both in swing and crosses. I love in swing and crosses. It just
Yeah.
it works so well and I enjoy them. Virg and Kanate should be scoring a minimum of between 5 to about 8 goals, I think, a season. If they play every game between the Champions League and the Premier League, they need to be scoring between 5 to 10, personally, because they're two powerful lads and they're really good in the air, especially Virgil van Dijk. It's a shame that Konate doesn't score that often, as Keith just said. He hasn't scored for the last 2 years, which I was like, wow, how has he not scored for 2 years? But then I can't really recall a goal from Konate at the same time, so it makes sense. But we need to get these two lads more in swing and crosses, because I think last season there was a lot of out swing and crosses. I did experience that quite a bit, and it always frustrates me. A lot of in swing and crosses, and I've noticed that a lot this season under Arne Slot as well. We do a lot of in swing and crosses. So Virg, both headers were fantastic, but I still think Mike Mannion in goal. Wow, I thought Vicario was bad.
Do you think the injury? Do you think the injury hampered him?
I don't know whether he was injured at that point. Maybe he was. Maybe he wasn't.
He was, because do you remember he got that knock and he
Yeah.
got quite a bit of treatment. Hence, there was 5 minutes of added time at the end of the first half. But listen, either way, I
Either
thought
way, he was
Just on that, by the way, Mike Mannion must hate playing against Liverpool, because the last time we played against AC Milan, I think Mo Salah took a shot, broke his hand, he was out for like several months.
no way.
No way. I can't even remember this.
Plays in this game and he's already half cooked already. Like you can see, I don't know if that pass that he made, that diagonal, actually caused the goal, but it was actually like the cause of his downfall after that. So I just wanted to add that there.
But the thing is, I don't know whether he was like, I think maybe he's just really bad at corners and set pieces, because both of those goals.
He's a great shot stopper, though.
He might be a great shot stopper. Vicario is a great shot stopper, but he's awful at corners. He can't command his box, and especially 100%. As you mentioned, Grizz, Virgil's goal, he started on the keeper and then he moved away. But if you watch it back, the lad who was guarding Virgil, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Reinders, who I also very highly, I think he's a very good player. But Reinders was marking Virgil, and when Virgil peeled off the goalkeeper to get onto the header, who's blocking Reinders? Mike Mannion. The guy's awful. Watch that goal back and you'll see. But yeah, both goals, quality. I feel like we've definitely worked on these set pieces as well.
100%.
And crosses, and putting it inside the penalty box as well helps. So yeah, fantastic. Long may that continue.
We definitely work on set pieces, because do you remember, guys, Trent took every fucking set piece, every corner, left side, right side. It was just Trent. Whereas now we vary it all the time. Left footer takes it on the right side, right footer takes it on the left side, and we vary it as well in terms of not always far post. We sometimes we look for the near post. 2-1 up at halftime. Again, guys, don't want to get ahead of myself. Don't want to get cocky. Don't want to get arrogant, especially after Nottingham Forest, because the Nottingham Forest was like a fucking nightmare. But I felt so comfortable at halftime. Keith, I wasn't stressed. I didn't think the second half. I was just thinking, let's not do anything stupid, because they're only going to score from anything stupid we do. Let's focus, and around the 65th, 70th minute, bring on Diaz and Nunes and kill them off, and then bring on Chiesa for the last 5-10 minutes. That's kind of what happened, but obviously without the ending of Diaz and Nunes having any effect on the game. But was you as comfortable, or was you still, no, after the Forest debacle, bit nerve still, let's just keep it professional? Or did you think of any changes that you needed to make? By now, I think we all agreed, because I think after the first 10 minutes, we all wanted Tsimikas off the pitch. But I think by now we were settled and like, no, we're calm, we're good.
Yeah, look, I thought it was going to be a tough to order for AC Milan. You know, other than that goal, they didn't do anything that half. So it would have been really worrying tonight if we were sitting here saying we went 2-1 up at halftime and lost 3-2 or drew the game 2-2. You know, again, I know it's early days with Slot. I know there's going to be bumps and bruises along the way, but that kind of, you know, depletion or failing in such a way, you know, is not a good way to start a message that you're trying to get through to the players, because then the players will look at the message and think, well, actually, maybe this isn't right for us. So, you know, I would have been shocked So I was very, very, very confident and confident. The only thing is, it's funny because I think obviously Szoboszlai in the end was getting heaps of praises, but I did feel like that first half again when he was pressing like a monster. But I just felt like, do you know what? If Szoboszlai can start actually playing the ball when he's supposed to play the ball and play the right pass, he keeps winning the ball. He keeps like nicking it off Loftus-Cheek. He keeps nicking it off Reinders, you know, but when he gets it, again, the final pass or the final decision's letting him down a little bit. If he can just, you know, get it right, I think, you know, second half we could really, really start to push them. And that was what I was looking for going into the second half. If Szoboszlai can up his game on the ball, then everything that we were doing off the ball was going to pay dividends, because Gravenberch was really starting to grow into the game. McAllister was starting to grow into the game. Gakpo was starting to have Calabria on toast. So all the makings, you know, of a second half where we were going to dominate were there. But I just thought that was the one thing that we needed. Can Szoboszlai do it? And I'll pass back to you, Grizz, because I think we know the answer to that question.
Well, again, stats and facts can be a bit deceptive, right? Now, this guy, like when you see him live and then you see him like today as well, you know, his running power is insane. He has 3 lungs. I don't think there's anyone in the Premier League as fit and can do as many sprints as this guy. And Keith, you're spot on in terms of how many times he disrupted their build-up. How many? Do you remember like when we done Man United? He was a single-handed disruptor of the whole Man United back four when he done the same thing against Man United. But his on-the-ball decision-making has to improve and will improve because he's young. He's got the technical ability, but he's just... And that number 10, we're so accustomed to some greats playing in that number 10 of the past, you know, and they all have to be technically gifted and eye of the needle passes and this, that. That's not his game. But what his game is getting on the end of crosses, being in the penalty box. He's got a great strike engine for days and days and days. And Mohamed, your guy, Gakpo, literally puts it on a sixpence for him. He can't miss. But Gakpo was fucking insane for that goal again, right?
Oh, and before that, even Gravenberch was insane for the goal.
Yes.
Oh God, and Gravenberch, the build up from the back, and then the pass to Gakpo, the running power, the way he opened up his legs. Pause, but yeah, the way he opened and the run was insane. He didn't just put Calabria on toast. Calabria's probably not going to play football again for AC Milan because the guy was off, injured, whatever. He got hooked. The finish as well was quite underrated by Szoboszlai. He had to bring his foot quite high up, and it was a decent little finish. But if you would have missed, my head would have been on Mars. As you just said, Grizz, the guy's running power is insane. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it.
He's mad.
It's insane. Crazy. The guy, I don't even know if he's got 3 lungs. He might have 30 lungs. He's everywhere on the pitch. But I just don't understand what's going on with him on the ball. Like his passing, like some of the through balls he was trying to attempt, they weren't there. He had the opportunity a couple of times where he could have shot, but he didn't shoot. And we know this guy's shooting power is insane. We know he's got a fantastic shot on him, but he just seems to not want to shoot. And it confuses me. But that's a point that I wanted to touch on about Arne Slot. And look, I've enjoyed Arne Slot a lot this season. The way he comes across in interviews and the way he carries himself on the touchline, everything has been fantastic. One thing I really didn't like this week was him coming out and saying Szoboszlai needs to score more goals. I don't like the way he criticised them openly. I'm not used to that with Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp would keep that internally. It wouldn't be something that the media...
But he didn't, but guys, Mohamed, I'm going to have to stop you there. I'll tell you why. Because he didn't say that. That was just taken out of a whole paragraph and a whole piece. He said, he praised him, and all he said was, "But a player of his quality needs to score more." And he's right, though, guys. We've said the same thing, and it's worked. But it's worked.
Yeah, it's worked.
I don't think he was calling him out. I think the way the Liverpool, the aggregators, sort of pulled it out and he said this. They kind of highlighted it out of context.
Maybe it's a learning curve for Arne Slot because obviously he's new.
Yeah, of course, that's true. But we've praised their outspokenness and we've praised the way they're just very forthright in their opinions and they're emotionless. They don't pander.
It's Dutch.
It's a Dutch thing, right?
It's a Dutch thing. 100%. It's a Dutch thing. You know, I work with Dutch colleagues and I've had them on calls and like funny enough, right? So anytime I have a Dutch colleague on a call and we're speaking to like English clients, right? So, you know, British people are always very polite, like they'll bounce around trying to be like, you know, forthright. And Dutch colleagues will come in there and they will just literally just say it how it is. And I'll just say it straight up. And a lot of the time we're getting squeaky bum time because we're like, please don't piss off our client. So, you know, so it's kind of like they just say they're not like us Brits, you know what I mean? We're quite like, you know, oh, he could do better, you know, he could do better. Yeah. Or like, you know, with Jurgen Klopp, I think Jurgen Klopp was quite British in a lot of his responses.
Yeah, good point.
You know what I mean? In that respect, I think he adopted to that culture. And I agree. I think, you know, it's always a fine balance between being too direct like Louis van Gaal is, and obviously having that little bit of like sensitivity. The thing about with Szoboszlai is sometimes I wonder if he works himself so damn hard into the ground that sometimes when he actually gets the opportunity to make those passes, probably a bit, just that little bit, half a step of breath away. But again, in that second half, I thought, do you know what I mean? Like he was getting into much better positions and he was creating a lot of the counterattacks from that central position. I thought the passing and the choice of passing got better as the game went on. I thought he grew in confidence. And I think it's going to be a confidence driver. That's ultimately, he's got the opportunity right now that he probably didn't have at Liverpool. I felt that the way we played with three midfielders before was effectively like, you know, almost like you look after right side, you look after left side, and we've got our central guy here, right? Okay, and people get their opportunities to go up and down. Whereas now it's effectively like Szoboszlai, you've got the entire area to do as you wish, as you have always wanted. And I think if you can kind of find the right balance between his pressing game and disrupting play and knowing when to release the ball quicker, it will come with time and it will come with experience. The one thing that is the most encouraging is his age. You know, Szoboszlai, I believe he's only 23 years old.
You're all about 22, bro. They were 22, 23. Even McAllister's the oldest, I think 24, 25.
Right, yeah. So you got to think, like, as time goes on, as experience goes on, he's only going to get more and more better with his timing. But in terms of like what he brings to the team by way of disruption, I think clearly he is Slot's favorite. He's the one player out of all of them that Slot does not take off regardless. He played him for the 490 against Forest, despite the fact that he had 2 games against Hungary. He played him for the 490 tonight. He is clearly Slot's golden child. And, you know, I think this is going to be where Slot can potentially really, you know, he's already done it with Gravenberch. Let's see what he does with Szoboszlai. But he got the goal. So clearly the message worked. Right place, right time. You know, the opportunity. The one thing I want to say about Cody Gakpo real quick is that I'm just so happy. I did not like Klopp's decision all season with playing him as a number 10. I get the thought process. He's 6'4". He's big, he's strong, he's good on the ball. You know, perhaps maybe we can play him in an 8 or play him up front because he's got these physical attributes to be able to change his position. Klopp was wrong. Klopp was badly wrong in that. And I'm glad that Arne Slot is not play Gakpo in his position. He looks comfortable there. He looks confident there. He does it for the Dutch national team. What we're seeing Gakpo for the national team do, he's now doing it for us. And as an option to compete with Luis Diaz, who is a different type of wide player, you know, I think we're sport for riches in that position.
I think we are as well, and I think we're sport in the. We've got options. I don't know if we're sport for choices. I think maybe the only negative of the night, Mohammed, and it's only fair, to sort of have a balance. We've praised and we've done brilliantly, and 3-1 away to AC Milan in the first night of the Champions League is magnificent, especially after what we've done. Diogo seems to be struggling a little bit, Mohammed, but he's still my guy. I'm not about to give up on him at all. But is it time to maybe just pull him out of the team? What are you saying?
Pull him out and bring Nunes in? No, thanks. I don't want that to happen at all. Jota has been frustrating. Oh, God. He's the only part of this attacking force at the moment that's just been doing my head in a lot. Even to an extent, the Ipswich game, I know he scored, but I think this has been the career of Diogo Jota. When he doesn't score, what does he actually do? Like, really, what does he do? He's always been that type of player. Like, he needs that goal. And it does usually, like, you know, mask his performances. His performances are not usually the best. He's an okay presser. Passing abilities is all right too. Link-up plays are all right too. goal scoring is his best quality. His finishing ability is second to none. It's fantastic. But when he doesn't get that goal, honestly, this season, well, not even this season, previously in earlier seasons, when I've seen him play, it's if he hasn't scored a goal, he hasn't really done too much, like in terms of the build-up play, the way they were actually playing. Does he drop like Firmino used to drop? He doesn't do too many runs in behind. It's frustrating, and I feel like we're getting glimpses of that again this season. Oh, I honestly don't know what's going on with Jota.
For me, it's a tough one, right? Because I see it. Like you're saying about the off the ball thing, and you know what it is, yeah. I don't think he's like the best. Like he's not like I thought Firmino in a defensive format.
Oh yeah,
ever, right? And I don't think Jota's very good at that necessarily. Where I believe Slot is finding it very difficult to drop him at the moment is I think there's a big difference between the way positionally Jota takes up space off the ball and the shape that Liverpool are in when he's playing versus Núñez. I don't think Núñez in that centre forward position is accustomed to the shape off the ball that we need him to be the way Jota is. And I think this is probably the biggest issue that we have at the moment is the fact that our option off the bench like deteriorates that.
Keith, 100% agree with you. Listen, I don't think I've ever come across a more brain dead player than Darwin Núñez, and I don't want him playing in front of Diogo Jota at all.
Are you totally done with him?
Oh, I'm done. I've been done with him. I've never seen a more finished player.
No, are you totally done with him now? Like,
I don't think he's got brain cells. Personally, I don't think he has a brain in his skull. Like, he's just, I don't know what's wrong with him. But Diogo Jota, on the flip side, look. He is a good player. We know we've got a good player there. His footballing IQ is really good. He does know where to get the right positions. It's very high. My problem with Diogo Jota is I don't know. It's
form. He's done this before. He's had this before. Do you remember when he went a year without scoring a goal?
Yeah, we have two. That's the thing. We have two different types of Diogo Jota. We either have the Diogo Jota that when he plays is very ineffective for the actual team's performance. Might chip in with the odd goal here and there. But then on the flip side of that, we have the Diogo Jota, for example, when Mo Salah was away at AFCON just earlier this year, and he's just electric. And he is just absolutely like the pinnacle of our attack. And everything goes through Diogo Jota, and he's the main man, and he's just on fire. There's two different parts of Diogo Jota. It's either really bad or it's like really, really good. There doesn't seem to be a medium. There doesn't seem to be like the in-between level. The in-between level is probably when he scores that odd one little goal and that masks his performances. But I've seen this from Diogo Jota on a number of occasions. Listen, I would rather have this Diogo Jota though than any form of Núñez that I've seen in the Liverpool shirt. Maybe apart from the last 30 minutes against Newcastle away, I'll have that Núñez. But apart from that, I don't want any other type of... I'm so done with that guy. It's unbelievable. And I think my final nail in the coffin was that Nottingham Forest game. Like, he's just so brain dead. The way the Gakpo was, when he came on, he was off the left wing. Why is he standing on Gakpo's toes? What's he doing? Like,
And you know what's so funny? You say just that point, like you were saying about how much you dislike Morata. For me, he just reminds me of Morata. He has that, you know, he's for such a tall striker who's supposedly aggressive and physical. He gets bodied off the ball against Nottingham Forest, which leads to the counter attack, which leads to the goal so easily. And you know, he does, you know, when he goes for 50-50s in the air, he never wins those 50-50s headers in the air. For me, Darwin Núñez he's got a tall mountain to climb in my book. You know, I'm still, you know, hopeful that that Slot might be able to do something with him. But it is telling at the moment that Diogo Jota has hardly scored a goal for Liverpool, and he is still starting week in, week out at number 9.
I feel like Slot has done with them in a way because, as you just mentioned there, Jota hasn't scored against since the Ipswich game. If he was going to play any game, it would have been today. And
okay, let's all agree there is absolutely no chance he doesn't not start against West Ham in the League Cup next Wednesday. That's what I mean. If he doesn't, then we know it's officially done with. So look, I'm not going to end on a downer, man. Let's park the Diaz and Jota debate, the Núñez and Jota debate. Let's end up on a high. Guys, 3-1 away to AC Milan. Liverpool are back in the big time. It was comfortable. It was nice. Happy birthday, of course, to Arnie Slot. We're back, baby. Crucial. All eyes on the weekend, though, guys. The bread and butter. I'm all about the bread and butter, man, of Bournemouth, man. Like today was fine. Heritage, Champions League, all of that business, but it's crucial. It's crucial we come back to winning ways against Bournemouth on the weekend, right?
That's the bigger game. Like from this week, the Bournemouth game was bigger than this Milan game, in my opinion.
Really?
100 billion% by miles. That Bournemouth game is massive. And we've got a lot of games that we're going to play until the next international break. I think it's like 7 in like 20 days or something.
Well, now it's 5 in 18 days, 17 days now.
Which is a lot of games. We've got that West Ham game, and honestly, I'll just play whatever. Play train non.
I know, but I like to win these games.
No,
I like going Wembley, man.
Well, to be honest, that's a wholesale change for me. That game, Kelleher's in goal, Bradley.
Yeah, pretty much everyone.
It's wholesale for me. But tranquilo, we need to be calm. We need to be relaxed. We've been through this on so many times, so many seasons. I've watched so much football, Liverpool seasons of my time. We just need to be calm, relaxed with this new manager. And I'm hoping like the experience of these lads, because they're used to this. They're used to playing 2 big games each and every single week. And we can go into that Bournemouth game on Saturday and, you know, get revenge from what happened the week before. Because I don't think anyone was expecting what happened against Nottingham Forest. Like, I thought it would be a breeze, honestly. So this Bournemouth game, in my mind, previously was a breeze, but now it's huge. It's a massive game.
It's like a cup final.
It's like a cup final for me, and it's kind of a shame because Man City have made this league in that way.
Yeah,
but that's just the pressure that has been heaped on every other team. If you lose 1 or 2 games, it's like, oh, the whole world's over. Finished. But yeah, Bournemouth's massive.
Keith, are you of the same opinion? And very quickly, are you throwing the same team out again? Well, I know 2 changes, but Robertson back in, we're assuming. And who's the other one?
Gakpo.
Yeah. Are we assuming? Oh,
I mean, you can't. I mean, I don't know. You know, as I said, only for me personally, I think Gakpo puts a performance on like that, and you go with momentum. You know, I think.
Oh, but Diaz hasn't put a foot wrong.
Yeah, but I know he hasn't put a foot. It's crazy. He's got big decisions to make.
Judge is the one who's placed is at risk, no? Yeah. But what you're saying is you wouldn't
shape-wise. I wouldn't tinker with that shape. Look, one thing I will say is, listen, you know, we can lose as long as we win, right? Liverpool's biggest killer for so many seasons has been draws. And we have gone throughout seasons where we've lost less games than Manchester City on 2 occasions and still lost the league title. I can take a defeat every now and again, you know. I can take a rare defeat against Nottingham Forest. You know, the Bournemouth game is a must-win. I think we've got games where we have to win. If we're going to lose a game, even if we're going to lose 3-4 games this season, that's going to happen. That's fine, but we cannot draw. And I hope that is that. I'm obsessed with the idea that we have to avoid draws. And I think, you know, I think the crowd, I mean, the Liverpool faithful, and I'm glad you're giving this war cry in terms of, you know, feel it like a cup final. I think the stadium needs to feel a bit like a cup final.
Yeah, we need to up it a bit, man.
I think we have, like, I think, you know, the players have kind of come out all firing the first, you know, 4 wins out of 5, right? But I think us as fans, I think we've just been a bit hesitant, really, to really kind of let the voice go. And I think we need to give Bournemouth a real atmosphere. And I think the difference, again, I just don't think Irola is going to come with the same tactics. As I said, he's going to be rare to come up with a Nuno Espirito, you know, low block war style thing. I think Bournemouth just can't play that style of football. So I think it's going to be a lot more in our favor that they're going to try and press us, and they're going to try and take advantage of the fact to Milan. But, you know, I think for us, you know, we have to win the game. We have to keep the momentum because Man City are playing Arsenal on Sunday. So already there's an opportunity to get straight back into it. So, you know,
but this was going to piss us off. But this was even more pissing off about the Nottingham Forest effing result, because, you know, the state of the fixtures means that, you know, it would be even more closer. But listen,
but just
about Champions League.
I know you're about this, but like on Keith's point about the Anfield atmosphere, I think we need a whole podcast alone to talk about that, because there seems to be a problem. Like that Nottingham Forest game just absolutely did my head in, and there's a lot of maybe maybe Liverpool Football Club are responsible for this. The amount of hospitality seats at the moment at Anfield is just ridiculous. You look at the home map for games like Nottingham Forest game. There's hospitality in the main stand, Annie Road. There's hospitality in the Kenny stand. It's insane, but the atmosphere is poor. I hope and I'm praying that on Saturday, I hope everyone turns up with a red shirt
Let's
on.
rev it up a little bit, Anfield. Let's rev it up a little bit. I'm still 50-50 if I'm going this weekend or not, but let's rev it up a little bit. Let's get back on track. We've got back on track today. Let's continue. Let's see what's happening on the weekend. We've got choices. We'll probably do a preview of the game, try to work out how we're going to go about picking team selection for Arnie's slot for him. But thank you, Mohammed. Thank you, Keith. We'll be back again very, very soon. I've got to run today, so it's a very quick show. In fact, it's been an hour. That's enough content for you. Peace out. Take care. Liverpool are back in the Champions League.
That's up.